Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Didi Nashtapai Vyavadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seva Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Sri Bhaktivinoda Das Thakur, Chapter 8, Part 8, the disappearance of Jagannath Mishra. Adi Khanda, Chapter 8, text 40. So Nimai had gone through his sanskar, Yajnapavid sanskar, and he started studying. And he would challenge and defeat even the elder boys in the school. And sometimes he would defeat even the teacher also in grammar. यही मत प्रतिदिन पढ़िया सुनिया गंगा स्नाने चले निज वयस्य लहिया. After school, the Lord regularly went with his friends to bathe in Ganga. पढ़ियार अंत नाही नवद्वीप कोरे पढ़िया मध्याह्न सबे Ganga स्नान करे. In Navadvip, there were innumerable students, and they all took bath in Ganga at midday. Innumerable students. And when we go to Navadvip, it looks like a small place, not a huge place, but there were innumerable students. At the time of the Lord, there were many schools in Navadvip, wherein innumerable students from various provinces studied the scriptures. The area of Navadvip at that time stretched northeast up to Dweep Chandrapura. So that was the center of studies at that time. एको अध्यापकेर सहस शिष्यगण अन्यो अन्य कला करेन अनुक्षण. Each teacher had thousands of students, and they would regularly challenge the students of the other teachers. प्रथम वयस्य प्रभु स्वभाव चंचल पढ़ु या गणेर सह करे न कुंदाल. As the Lord was young and restless, he would also quarrel with other students. केह बोले थोर गुरु कौन बुद्धि तार केह बोले "ई देख आमिष जार." Someone would challenge, your teacher is not very learned. Another would say, see whose disciple I am. Ei mat alpe alpe hai gala gali tabe jal fela feli tabe de abali. In this way, they began to quarrel with harsh words, and soon they would splash water and throw sand at each other. All kids do that. I mean, not this way, whichever way they had the quarrel. तबे है मारामारी ये या हरे पारे करदम फेरिया खावर गाय के हमारे. Eventually, they would beat each other or throw mud at each other. राजा रे दोहाई दिया केह करे भारे मारिया पलाए केह गंगा रे उपारे. Some boy in the name of the king would catch another boy, and someone would beat another and then swim across Ganga to safety. एता हुड़ा हुड़ी करे पड़ु यस काल बाली कदम आए तब सब है गंगा जल. They wrestled so intensely that the waters of Ganga became full of sand and mud. जल भरी भारे नाही पारे नारी गण न पारे करीते स्नान ब्राह्मण सज्जन. In that situation, the girls were unable to fill their water pots, and the gentle Brahmins were unable to take their bath. परम चंचल प्रभु विश्वम्भर राहे एहि मत प्रभु प्रति घाटे घाटे आए. The Vishwambhar was most restless. He went to each bathing ghat. प्रति घाटे पदयार अंत नाही पाए ठाकुर कलह करे प्रति ठाई ठाई. At each ghat there were innumerable students, and the Lord debated at every ghat. प्रति घाटे जाए प्रभु गंगा ए संतारी एको घाटे दुई चारी दंड क्रीडाकारी. The Lord swam to each ghat and enjoyed debating there for 1 or 2 hours. Jata jata paramanik padu yar gan tara bole kala kara ki karan. The senior students asked the boys, why are you arguing? Jigyasa kara buchi kara kon buddhi vritti panji chikara ke jane dekhi shuddhi. Let us see who can explain the proper forms of vritti, panji and tika. So vritti is a brief explanation of a verse, tika is expanded explanation of a verse, and panji is a poetic description of a subject. Previously, Kayasthas used to write Panji. On the Kalak grammar composed by Sarva Varma, there is a Tika written by Sushen Vidyabhushan, a Panji written by Trilochan Das, and a Vritti written by Durga Singh, and they're all very famous. Gangadas Pandit taught Kalak grammar to his students, headed by Nimai. So Kalak grammar, and there are other ways of learning Sanskrit also. So Gangadas Pandit was in Kalak grammar. And I think Jeev Goswami has written a book on grammar that currently in ISKCON, whoever wants to study, they study Sanskrit like that, from that book. प्रभु बोले भाला भाला एक कथा है जिज्ञासु का आमारे जहाँ रचित लाए. The Lord replied, yes, good, you can ask me anything you like. केह बोले ते केने कर अहंकार Prabhu bole jigyasa se chitte tomara. One student asked him, why are you so conceited? And Nimai replied, ask me whatever you like. The student might have thought, why are you so proud of yourself? And Nimai said, just ask me. Dhatu sutra vakana bole se paduya. Prabhu bole vakani ye shunamana. The same student then said, explain the sutras on verbal roots. The Lord replied, listen attentively to what I say. So verbal roots means every word in Sanskrit has a root, dhatu. It's called dhatu, on which, it is expanded further. Just like, um, which word I was thinking? Shastra. Shastra and then Shastra. It all comes from Shas dhatu. Shas means to control. Now, the Shastra is to control by learning. Shastra means to control by force. So similarly, all the words have some dhatu which it is resting on. And it could be different meanings of that same word, and depending upon the context, one can derive the real meaning. Sarva Shakti Samanvita Prabhu Bhagavan Kari Lena Sutra Vyakhya Yehae Brahman. The all-powerful Supreme Lord Vishwambar then explained the sutras according to the prescribed grammatical rules. व्याख्या सुनी सबे बोले प्रशंसा वचन प्रभु बोले एवे सुन करिए खंडन. Hearing his explanation, everyone praised him. The Lord then said, now hear me refute these explanations. The Lord Nimai himself gave the explanations, and everybody said, yes, 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 yes. Very, very right, very perfect. And Nimai said, let me refute these explanations. यत व्याख्या कहलता दुशील सकल प्रभु बोले स्थाप हेबे कार्याचे बल. After the Lord refuted each of his explanations, he then asked, now who can re-establish these explanations? चमत्कार सबे भावे न मन माने प्रभु बोले सुनो एबे करिए स्थापन. Everyone there was struck with wonder as Nimai said, now hear me re-establish those explanations, the first which I had refuted. Puna hena vyakya karilena Gaurachandra sarva mate sundara kathau nahi manda. Sri Gaurachandra then again established those explanations in such a wonderful way that no one could find any fault. यत सब प्रामाणिक पढ़ु यार गान संतोषे सभई कर लेना आलिंगन. All the senior students then embraced Nimai in satisfaction. पढ़ ये सकल बोले आदि घर जा काली ये जिज्ञासीता काली वेद चाह. The other student said, today you can go home and tomorrow we'll have more questions for you. Ei mat pratidin janavir jan Vaikuntha Nayak Vidya Rasake Lake Rasake Lake. In this way, the Lord of Vaikuntha enjoyed his pastimes as a student, playing in the water of Ganga. एक क्रीड़ा लागिय सर्वज्ञ बृहस्पति शिष्य सह नव द्वीपे हैरवत्पति. To assist in his pastimes, the omniscient Brihaspati took birth in Navadvip along with his disciples. So even Brihaspati took birth along with his disciples. The word Sarvagya is another name for the original Vishnu Swami. He appeared at Chandanvan Kalyanpur in the province of Pandya. He is the first Vaishnava Acharya in this age of Kali. He defeated the philosophy of Buddhism and brought Sri Jagannath Dev to Sundarachal. 300 years before Christ, a king named Vijay Pandya appeared. After he conquered Shri and brought Lord Jagannath to his own province, the Buddhists returned Lord Jagannath to Nilachal. A few hundred years later, during the reign of Sundar Pandya, he was reminded of the place where Lord Jagannath was brought while going to conquer the northern provinces. That place, known as Sundarachal, later became known as Gundicha. Shortly before this incident, a disciple of Shankaracharya named Padmapadacharya built a mutt at the place known as Chhatra. Later on, this mutt was shifted to the shore of the ocean by Sri Ramanujacharya. There is a book named Sankshep Sharira in the Shankar Sampradaya that is said to be written by Sarvagyatma Muni. But this Sarvagyatma Muni cannot be the Sarvagya Muni. He established the philosophy of Shuddha Advaita. There is another Sarvagya in the Jain Sampradaya as well. In the disciplic succession of Sarvagya Muni, there were many disciples, including Brihaspati. So Sarvagya Muni was original Acharya, Vishnu Swami. So many things used to go on at that time. Um, the Buddhists were also becoming powerful, and Shankaracharya said they were already powerful. And in South India, you know, there were many followers of Shankaracharya, the kings, and somehow they would they would want that philosophy to be established, and everybody should become a follower of Shankaracharya. They didn't like Vaishnavas. So just like Ramanujacharya also time, there was a king and he was very ferocious and he would kill the Vaishnavas if they don't switch over to Shankara philosophy and start worshipping Lord Shiva. In Kanchipuram, maybe there still is, because when Lord Nityananda went, he saw, and so there was a road. On one side, there were all Lord Shiva temples. On the other side, there were all Lord Vishnu temples. So Shiva side was called Shiva Kanchi, and Vishnu side was called Vishnu Kanchi. And they would regularly, if they were arguing, it's okay. Debate is okay. But there were fights, physical fights between the two followers. And Nityanand Prabhu, when he went there, he saw this fight and he just laughed. He said, "What are these nonsense? There's no fight between Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. There is no problem there. Why is the problem in the followers? Because they don't understand the philosophy properly. That's the problem." And here also, if you see, Lord Jagannath has been shifted from Nilachal to Sundarachal and back into Nilachal. Oh, that must be the mm, mood of Jagannath ji, that he wanted to go from his temple to Gundicha, not even during Rath Yatra, some other time. But Why disturb the Lord in this way? But anyway, so many things still are happening, but not at that scale. Not at that scale. When earlier it was. जल क्रीड़ा करे प्रभु शिष्य गण संगे क्षणे क्षणे गंगा रघु पारे जाए रंग. While sporting in Ganga, the Lord and his friends would sometimes swim to the other side. The word Gangaru Upare refers to Kulia, or the present-day city of Navadvip. So earlier it was what we call Mayapur, and that is where Yogpith is there, where Nimai used to live. And the other side of Ganga is Navadvip. It was called Kulia. Why Kulia? Because uh, there's a beautiful pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Kulia. So we have to remember Kulia is what is present day Navadvip. बहुमनोरथ पूर्वे आचिल गंगार जमुनार देखी कृष्ण चंदेर विहार. Seeing the good fortune of Yamuna in obtaining the association of Lord Krishna, Ganga had cherished the desire for the same opportunity. कबे है बेक मोर जमुनार भाग्य निरवधि गंगाई बालिले नवाक्य. Ganga constantly prayed, when will I be fortunate like Yamuna? Because Krishna played, performed so many pastimes in Yamuna at Vrindavan. And then Ganga prayed, how come I don't have this kind of mercy? What did I do? How can I get this mercy? So she always prayed to get that kind of opportunity. So Ganga constantly prayed, when will I be fortunate like Yamuna? यद्यपिह गंगाज भवदिवंदिता तथापिह जमुनार पादसे vanchita. Although Ganga is worshipped by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, she nevertheless still desires the good fortune of Yamuna. Vancha kalpataru prabhu Shri Gaura Sundar Janavira Vancha Purna Kare Nirantara. Lord Gaurchandar is like a wish-fulfilling tree that constantly satisfies the desires of Ganga. Kari Bahu Vidya Krida Janavira Jale Grihe Island Gaura Chandra Kutuhale. After enjoying various pastimes in the waters of Ganga, Shri Gaurchandra joyfully returned home. So now she was satisfied because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai, performed his pastime every day. He would take bath in Ganga every day and play with his friends and do all sorts of mischievous pastimes also. यथ विधि करि प्रभु श्री विष्णु पूजन तुलसी रे जल दिया करे न भोजन. The Lord then worshipped Vishnu according to regulation, and after watering Tulsi, he took his meal. So these things are important for every Hindu should do it. Worship Vishnu and then have Tulsi plant at home, water Tulsi, and then take his meal. See, I think Prabhupada mentioned one place that our former Prime Minister of India, the Nehru, he was atheist actually. I don't know why they called him Pandit, just to get votes, I think. He was an atheist. So he was like, what's the point in growing tulsi? You don't get anything. I would rather grow eggplant. So brinjal. In India it's called brinjal. I would rather grow brinjal and somebody should stomach should be full. I mean, belly should be full. They don't understand the importance of tulsi. I mean, nobody is saying don't grow eggplants. But tulsi is tulsi. No, atheists cannot understand the importance of Tulsi Devi. And even even medicinally, she's very, very powerful. And Tulsi is the only plant that gives out ozone, not oxygen. She gives out ozone. And she can purify any house, any atmosphere, even if we look at it from that aspect also. If Tulsi plant is there, that whole place gets purified. Not just spiritually, I mean, other ways also. But people don't understand the importance of Tulsi Mala. भोजन करिया मात्र प्रभु से इच्छा ने पुस्तक लैया गया वसन निर्जान. Immediately after taking his meal, the Lord took his books and sat in a solitary place. आपने करेन प्रभु सुखेर टिपानी धूलिला पुस्तक रसे सर्वदेव मानी. The Lord, who is a crest jewel amongst the demigods, fully absorbed himself in his studies and composed his own commentary on the sutras. देखिए आनंदे भाषे मिश्र महाशय रात्रि दिन हरीश के छुई न जाना. Seeing his son studying attentively, Jagannath Mishra floated in an ocean of happiness and forgot what it was, whether it was day or night. देखीते जगन्नाथ पुत्र मुख नीति नीति पाए अनिर anirvachaniya sukha. Every day, Jagannath Mishra felt indescribable happiness on seeing the face of his son. Jemate putrera rupa kare Mishra pan shastre sasharire sayujya ila kibatan. Shri Mishra drank the nectarian beauty of his son's form in such a way that it appeared he had merged his body with the Lord. Nectar, he drank the nectarian beauty of his son's form. I mean, this is how actually, I mean, not the idea of merging in the Lord, but this is how one should look at the deity, the temple. Just drink the nectarian beauty of the deity. The word Su Sharire Sayudhya are explained as follows. When a conditioned soul is freed from the gross and subtle bodies or designations, he attains a liberation of Brahm Sayudhya, merging with Brahman, Brahmjyoti. Or in other words, he becomes dormant. This is the conclusion of the impersonalist. But Jagannath Mishra is non-different from Vasudeva, the shelter of Vatsalya Ras in the transcendental realm of Goloka, beyond the material creation. He was so absorbed in seeing the beautiful form of Gaura, the personality of Godhead, as his son that he continually remained immersed in an ocean of bliss. Ordinary people did not consider him as Vasudeva, the personification of pure goodness. They considered him a conditioned soul, fit for Sayunja Mukti like themselves. In fact, they considered Jagannath Mishra had already attained Sayuja Mukti, the state of becoming dormant in his present gross and subtle bodies. But according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, a pure devotee does not like even to hear about Sayuja Mukti, which inspires him with fear and hatred. Instead, the pure devotee would rather go to hell than merge into the effulgence of the Lord. So Sayuja Mukti, there are 5 types of Mukti. Sarope, Salokya, Sashti, Samyapya, and Sayurja. So devotees don't want Sayurja. Sayurja means what Nirakarvadi say, merging into Brahmjyoti. But that's not, first of all, it's not correct, one cannot merge. And secondly, this is not what devotees want. So Samipya means being close to the Lord in the spiritual world. Sarupya, having the same form as the Lord, because in Vaikuntha, not Golok Vrindavan or other places, but in Vaikuntha, everybody gets the same form, four-handed form. And only difference between Lord and the devotee there in Vaikuntha is the Lord wears Vajantimala, Kaustumbhajul, and he has a Shrivatsa on his chest. Otherwise, there is no difference. in the form, Sarupya. Then Sarshti means the same Aishwarya, same opulence as a Lord. So in Vaikuntha, everybody has the same opulence. So Sarupya, Samipya, Sarshti, and Salokya. Salokya means on the same planet, to live on the same planet. But Bhagavatam says a devotee doesn't even want that if it is devoid of service. Priyamana grinanti vinamatsevanam jana. So devotees don't even care for any liberation. But if the liberation is there, first of all, Sahyajya is out of question. Liberation is there, but if there is no service, they don't. In Golok Vrindavan, that's a different story. Everybody doesn't have four-handed form. Nobody has any four-handed form. Even Krishna doesn't have four-handed form. So everybody has their own swarup. Okay, in Vaikuntha, so all the men have four-handed form and they wear yellow cloth and have dark complexion. They're just like Vishnu. But ladies, they just look like Lakshmi. Everybody looks like Lakshmi. But Lakshmi ji herself, the original Lakshmi, she has some special characteristics other ladies don't have. But it's Golok Vrindavan, that is completely different. It's not that every lady is going to look like Radharani. No, everybody has their own swarup. And every man, whether it's a boy, has his own swarup, whether it's Gopa, elder Gopas, they have their own swarup. And they have this. That's why they have this beautiful and loving pastimes with Krishna. Okay, I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions?
Thank you so much,
You want to
Pratik.
say if you
Nice
want?
class.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.